What can you do this weekend to take your job search game to the next level as a Scrum Master? Hello, welcome to the Scrum Chat Room with Dr. Francis Mbunya. Happy Saturday, and I'm excited to always come over here and share with you, also learn from you. I do learn a lot from a lot of people that are dropping valuable comment. I want to say thank you very much. It's a learning game. There's nobody that is above knowledge. That's why what I come here to teach, if you have like zero knowledge, is definitely not going to make any sense to you. That is why you need on your own end to also continuously do your own part of the job, right? Why I do my own part of the job. It's a two-way stuff. No matter how good maybe someone that's helping you to learn is, if you're not doing your own part of the learning, it's definitely not really going to add so much value. But then, just want to throw some weekend tips that are going to help you to be able to secure more interview next week. I know a lot of people are also securing a lot of interview, but they are not making it through. So what I'm going to share today are just going to be some of the tips that will help you to be able to skate through that point from having interviews after interviews and then not having the result. Okay, now let's get started. Before we get started, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, click the like button. It kind of just promote the videos to other people that are also looking for information or portals that they can be able to share ideas as well. And then if you're a returning subscriber, I want to say thank you very much for believing in me and helping me to do more videos. The reason I'm encouraged to do more videos is because you are also there watching, right? Now, if you also need help on how to become a Scrum Master, not how to become a Scrum Master, if you already in the process, we have a community that can help you practice. If you have a job and you're finding it difficult to scale through, we have another community that can help you perfect that part. If you're still thinking about becoming a Scrum Master, our next certification class is going to start on the 11th of April. So quite some time for you to prepare and get in, but those who always come in first and get those first seats, as always a big discount for them. All right, so a couple of tips for this weekend. My first recommendation for anyone that is still struggling, or you've had more than 3 interviews and you've not had a job. Number one, go back and look at all the different Scrum events and try to write down, if you were to write down a protocol for someone else that has never heard about Scrum, to show them how to implement the event. How will you write them? It's a tricky, very simple, but a powerful tool that will help you. Write down the protocol as if you write into someone that has never done Scrum before, how you, step by step, on how you will help them to run an effective sprint planning, an effective backlog refinement or backlog grooming event, an effective daily stand-up, effective review, sprint review, spec iteration retrospective. Okay. If you can do that, that is the foundation. Because any other question that they are asking will be somehow linked to the event. What will you do in case of this? Those are scenario questions. If you don't understand what is happening at that event, you will not be able to answer the scenario question rightly. Okay, that's the first tip. Now, the second tip is going to be your response to interviews question. This is one of the most powerful tips that is going to help you really scale through. A lot of you are trying to be expert in Scrum when you're not expert. Okay, let me break this down, why I say so. Let's take, for instance, you've never been in New York and you want to direct somebody on how to get something in New York City. What are you going to do? You're going to direct that person based on your knowledge and understanding on what you've read about New York, right? But if you actually live in New York City and you're directing that person, what are you going to do? It's going to be based on an overall and well understand language. And you're not even going to go to really detail. Now, how does that apply to the way you answered interview? It's just like you've never been in New York and you want to direct someone on how to go to the Fifth Avenue and then take these. You might not really have a whole sense of it. But let's say that you've never been in New York, but you have an understanding, and you directing that person, okay, I know you have about 4 options. You can take a train, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Remain at the high level because you understand the environment. That person will never really figure out if you've been on that street or not. Bring it back to Scrum. Let me take a practical example. If I want to talk about sprint planning, and they ask me a question, how will you run an effective sprint planning meeting? And I say, thank you very much for that question. For me to run an effective sprint planning meeting, the first thing I need to check is to make sure that my backlog is ready. I need to also make sure that I understand which of my team members going on vacation and which one is present, because that's going to help me understand the amount of work my team can take. I also need to make sure that when we are planning the work that we are going to take, we can, everyone should participate, and we should be able to collectively agree on what to take and what not to take without any pressure. And when we finish estimating the amount of work that we can take, then I make sure that everyone is okay with it, and then we can start our sprint planning meeting. Okay. Now I'm having a conversation just to make sure that I went through all the events. Now, many people try to go into really, really deep step by step, like, oh, I do my capacity, I send out the capacity planning sheet, everyone feel which day they're out or not, and then I pull out the poker board and we use the poker planning stuff. Is that good? Yes. But why is that a problem? Most of you have never had a practical experience doing that, and you're talking to someone that have really good knowledge on it. So when you go so detailedly in explaining one pieces by pieces, you expose your weakness. But when you stay at the level of conversation, what happened? If I'm not really satisfied with the high level, I'll ask you a specific question. Let's say, okay, what are the tools you use in estimating your story, or your poker planning and using the Fibonacci sequence, right? It goes straight to that point. Now, let me use another example. Let's say that I ask you, how do you ensure that your spring review are effective? Now, if I want to answer that question at a high level, I say, oh wow, this is a very important event. I just make sure that all my stakeholders are there, and I make sure that all my team members that need to present their review or their demo, they also are aware on what to do and on what time they need to present. And at the end of the day, we're making sure that all the feedback that we're giving, we're taking into consideration, right? Okay, perfect. Now, when that is done, what is happening? When that is done, the person interviewing you understand that you know exactly what you're saying. But let me do it otherwise. You ask me about my spring planning. Say, okay, firstly, before the spring planning, I will send out the agenda. I'll make sure that my manager is there, my stakeholder is there, everyone is there. And when I send the agenda on the day of the review, when everybody is there, I will ask my PO to give the goal. After my PO gives the goal, as Scrum Master will come in and facilitate, and then I will call each developer. Now, okay, this is a bit funny, but that's reality. When you go detail, any place, any spot where you make a mistake, it pops out, and then it's reviewing your weakness. So the goal is for you to stay at the high level. But you need to understand that if you need to stay at the high level, you need to already know it in theory. You need to know it like really, really well. So when you understand it very well, it's easy for you to stay at the level of at a high level. But if you don't even understand the details, that's why I always advise anyone, after your certification, it's an opportunity to continuously learn. Now, don't focus only on question and answer and listening to videos like this. You need to be able to have your own study plan, and you're only focusing on area or gaps that you're missing out. That is the way you go through. Be able to evaluate yourself. If you've had more than 3-4 interviews, it's not working, it's time you need to invest in a coach. Get in a more practical environment. And some people always feel like, oh, it is expensive, and then 6 months is expensive, 7 months is expensive, 8 months, 9 months, a year. Look, it is worth investing everything to learn what you need to do to get that position. Why? It's not just like any other job out there. It's well paid. And if you want to get in and not get overwhelmed and not get frustrated, you need to learn how to do it the right way. That is the way it is. And that is what you should be focusing on. All right. I hope this was helpful for you. If this was helpful, click the like button, subscribe, share to someone. And I'm going to see you on Monday for the next video.